Child actors have one thing in common. Eventually, they all grow up, and sometimes that means you pretty much never hear from them again. These are the stories of some big names you may have forgotten about.
Since Iron Man 3, many MCU fans have wondered what Harley actor Ty Simpkins has been up to since he lent a hand to Tony Stark. Luckily for them, we've got answers. Just 2 years after the release of Iron Man 3, Ty Simpkins found himself co-starring in another huge Hollywood blockbuster, Jurassic World. A 2015 revival of the film series that began in 1993 with Jurassic Park, Jurassic World follows the employees of an enormous dinosaur-themed amusement park that fills an entire island. The park is packed to the brim with cloned dinosaurs and excited tourists, and everything is overseen by a no-nonsense type named Claire, played by Bryce Dallas Howard. Simpkins and Nick Robinson play brothers Gray and Zach Mitchell, Claire's visiting nephews.
This does not feel safe.
Can we stay with you? I am never leaving you as long as you live. No, him!
The audience gets to experience the park through their eyes most of all, and when everything starts falling apart thanks to the chaos incited by the escape of the park's newest attraction, it's their fear with which the audience most identifies. Gray and Zach spend most of the movie terrified and attempting to reach safety, and Simpkins even told Collider that they had him scream as a part of his audition. Closely following his role in Jurassic World, Ty Simpkins made a cameo in Shane Black's retro detective film, The Nice Guys, in 2016. Black knew Simpkins from directing him in Iron Man 3, and the young actor must have made a good impression to be featured in the opening scene of one of Black's most critically lauded films. Speaking with Collider in 2015, Simpkins revealed that Black actually offered him the role at a party. Simpkins said, "He's talking about this movie that he's doing, and he's like, yeah, it's called The Nice Guys. It's about these two guys who have to solve a murder mystery about a porn star." And then he was like, "There's actually a part in the beginning for someone like you, Ty." A few months later, Simpkins was in Atlanta shooting the scene. Simpkins played an unnamed, rambunctious kid who sneaks into his parents' room late at night while they're asleep and steals an X-rated magazine from under the bed. The character immediately opens the magazine to its centerfold and finds a photo of an adult actor named Misty Mountains. Suddenly, a blue convertible crashes through the kid's house and lands in a nearby ditch. Upon investigation, Simpkins' character finds that the car's passenger is none other than Misty Mountains herself, who delivers an essential clue to solving her murder right before succumbing to her injuries. Even though many industry outlets reported on Ty Simpkins' alleged casting in Avengers Endgame well before the movie had an official title, many viewers were still surprised to see him reprise his role as Harley Keener during Tony Stark's funeral at the end of the movie. When asked by HuffPost about people's perplexed and occasionally confused reactions to his appearance in the film, Simpkins said, "I definitely thought that a couple people would get it. I wasn't really sure people would remember me or not, but I was kind of more focused on the fact that I was in the movie." Simpkins was mostly just excited to be on set with the long list of talented actors who were also present the day they filmed Tony's funeral. In the same interview with HuffPost, he said that he and Robert Downey Jr. still text and check in with each other from time to time. As of now, there are no official plans to bring Harley back again in the MCU.
Everything's gonna be okay. Because I'm your big brother. And I'm never gonna let anything bad happen to you.
In 2020, Ty Simpkins stepped back in front of the camera to co-star in an indie horror movie called Where's Rose? The actor, who also served as a producer on the film, plays Eric Daniels, whose younger sister Rose goes missing in the woods one day, much to the horror of her family. All seems lost until she turns up again the next day. Eric is the only person who seems to realize that the Rose who comes back isn't the same one who went missing, and the evil forces inhabiting her make themselves known throughout the course of the film. Where's Rose was actually filmed near the height of the COVID-19 pandemic, but thanks to a good team and a crowdfunding campaign, it debuted at the Raindance Film Festival in November 2021 and is currently available to stream on Amazon Prime, among other digital platforms. When The Whale came out in 2022, most of the attention was focused on Brendan Fraser's triumphant performance. While the film's directing and writing went largely unrecognized during award season, Fraser won the Academy Award for Best Actor. He wouldn't have been able to do it in a vacuum though, and it's largely thanks to the film's supporting players like Sadie Sink, Hong Chow, and Ty Simpkins that he was able to do his best work. Simpkins co-stars in the film as Thomas, the Christian missionary who continually dogs Fraser's Charlie, hoping that he can convince him to embrace the will of God. The Whale marked Simpkins' return to significant parts in big-time Hollywood pictures. Director Darren Aronofsky told Vanity Fair about the process for casting Simpkins as Thomas in 2023. He explained, "Right before we were about to start to rehearse, Mary Vernew, our casting director, was like, 'Oh, there's this one guy, Ty Simpkins. He was a child actor, but he hadn't acted in a while. He was kinda taking a break from it for a while. But he got on tape, and the next day he got on a plane and joined us in New York, where we shot the film, and he was great.'" In 2011, Ty Simpkins had appeared in Insidious, and Insidious Chapter 2, 2 years later. After 10 years away from the franchise, he returned to it in 2023, this time as a co-lead. He originally played the role of Dalton Lambert when the character was just a young boy who got caught up fighting evil forces and demons alongside his equally terrified parents. In 2023's Insidious: The Red Door, Dalton's parents, played by Rose Byrne and Patrick Wilson, are now divorced, and he's just starting his first year of college. Looper interviewed Simpkins alongside one of his co-stars, Sinclair Daniel, who plays Dalton's college roommate. When asked about his own experience growing up and how it parallels Dalton's, Simpkins explained, "When I first got the script for this, I was a freshman in college at the time. A lot of what I was going through, minus the demonic stuff, Dalton was going through it in this movie. It makes sense that Simpkins' first real starring role as an adult would be in the Insidious franchise, as that's really what put him on the Hollywood map when he was a child actor."
For over a decade, Johnny Galecki was a weekly presence on our screens as lovable geek Leonard on The Big Bang Theory, but when the show ended in 2019, the star seemingly disappeared. So what has he been up to? On May 3rd, 2019, Johnny Galecki took to Instagram to share some exciting news. He and his then-girlfriend, Elena Meyer, who he privately began dating the year prior, were expecting a baby. He wrote in the post, "We are absolutely over the moon to announce that we will soon be welcoming a little one into this crazy and wonderful world. We ask that you please respect our privacy during this celebratory time for us and our families." Later that month, during a paint-filled gender reveal party, Galecki and Meyer learned that they'd be welcoming a son. Orbison was born in early December 2019, with Galecki posting a sweet photo of himself and Meyer, each holding one of their baby's little hands. However, by November 2020, Galecki and Meyer had broken up and were co-parenting Orbison. Meyer wrote on Instagram that month, "This has been the gnarliest year of my life, with the highest highs and the lowest lows." Ever private about his relationships, Galecki has not publicly commented on why things ended. After his relationship with Meyer came to a close, Galecki turned to a friend to help get his mind off things: country musician Randy Houser. In January 2020, Galecki and his mother Mary Lou introduced Houser on stage at the Fonda Theater in Los Angeles. In October of that year, as the world still reeled from the COVID-19 pandemic, Galecki shared an adorable photo of the two dads and their kids enjoying a sunny autumn day at a pumpkin patch. Additionally, Houser helped Galecki tap into his musical side. A talented drummer, Galecki learned to set aside his shyness on stage and occasionally join Houser on a few tour stops. In fact, his drumming skills can be heard in the demo version of No Stone Unturned, the first song off Houser's 2019 album Magnolia. That spur-of-the-moment opportunity came when Galecki stayed with Houser and his wife in Nashville for a weekend. When his guest asked what he was working on, Houser played No Stone Unturned with just a click track, and Galecki asked for some drumsticks.
I didn't even know he played drums.
After filming for The Big Bang Theory wrapped up, Galecki returned to the world of Lanford, Illinois for brief appearances as David Healy on The Connors.
Yeah, the characters resurfaced really quickly. It was odd.
In Season 2, which aired in the fall of 2019, David is featured in 2 episodes. These episodes show Darlene, played by Sarah Gilbert, grappling with a difficult decision. Does she get back with David, her teenage love, and the father of her kids? Or does she finally leave him in the past? For Gilbert, it was a joy to once again work alongside Galecki, who she said on Live with Kelly and Ryan stood by her side years prior as she began to understand her sexuality.
He's the best. He's such a good guy. He's such a good actor.
In 2024, the show was renewed for its 7th and final season. Regarding a possible Galecki return, it's not out of the realm of possibility. Executive producer Bruce Helford told TV Line, "The door is always open to Johnny. I'm sure we'll be talking to him." Aside from his limited appearances on The Connors, Galecki hasn't set foot in front of a camera since the end of The Big Bang Theory, essentially disappearing from Hollywood. That's because, after 12 years, Leonard's mannerisms were so ingrained in Galecki's acting performance that it would have been impossible for him to immediately take on a new role and not carry over some of the character. He said in Jessica Radloff's The Big Bang Theory, the definitive inside story of the epic hit series, "One of the reasons I kind of have been staying out from in front of the camera is I'm still kind of bleeding Leonard out of my system, because these characters, they stay with you for a while. Plus, Galecki truly enjoyed his 12 years as Leonard, which would have made a quick transition into another character even harder. In an interview with Larry King, he revealed that the show's co-creators Chuck Lorre and Bill Prady initially envisioned him as Sheldon. However, upon reading the first few pages of the script, he felt drawn to Leonard.
I hadn't had a lot of opportunities to play, not that Leonard's a love interest, but the love is someone struggling with that territory of the heart.
Upon landing his first major sitcom role on Roseanne in the early 90s, a teenage Galecki moved from his childhood home in Illinois to Los Angeles, where he remained for the next 3 decades. For the majority of that time, however, he never felt like he belonged in the City of Angels permanently. He told Architectural Digest, "I never felt like much of an Angelino, and I did try. I say that with sadness, not with snobbery. 30 years is just a very long time to live in a city that you're not all that comfortable in." When The Big Bang Theory wrapped up and Galecki no longer had any commitments tying him to the West Coast, he began pondering where he'd like to move to. A few places came to mind, including Austin and New York, but one place attracted him the most: Nashville. He told Architectural Digest, "Everywhere I looked around here felt like the scene of a future memory." In 2019, shortly before the shutdowns of the COVID-19 pandemic, Galecki finally said goodbye to California and moved to the Music City. Once there, his sole focus was on his family and getting his new house decorated to his liking, rather than what was next in his career. In fact, he admitted that the 2024 interview with Architectural Digest was the first he agreed to in nearly 4 years. Though Galecki's relocation to Los Angeles as a teenager was a solo endeavor, this wasn't the case for his Nashville move. By his side was Morgan Galecki, whom he privately married on an undisclosed date. He first posted images of Morgan on his Instagram in January 2023 as part of a series of photos from their trip with Orbison to Walt Disney World. Galecki wrote in the caption, "Thank you to Mickey and gang for a magical post-holiday holiday." A little over a year later, the Galeckis welcomed a daughter together. Similar to how he handled his relationship with Meyer and the birth of Orbison, Galecki has worked to keep his home life with Morgan and his daughter out of the public spotlight. However, he does share the occasional glimpse into his life and happiness as a husband and father, whether it be cute Instagram posts like the Disney one or the rare interview. Without the stress of a weekly sitcom on his plate, Galecki is able to dedicate his full focus to something else, being a good father. Though he shields Orbison from the public eye, even hiding his face in social media posts, Galecki shares occasional updates about their father-son adventures, which range from typical outings to spending time with one of the top rock bands in the world. In December 2021, Galecki took Orbison to see some holiday lights. In a post of the two standing under a lit-up canopy, Galecki wrote in the caption, "Let it snow with my best friend Orbison Galecki." In a March 2022 post, Orbison can be seen taking in the world of art as he stands in front of a Vincent van Gogh piece. Then, in August 2022, this duo got an opportunity that every emo kid of the early 2000s would pay top dollar for, attending My Chemical Romance's soundcheck at Nashville's Bridgestone Arena. Galecki wrote in the caption, "An extra heartfelt thank you to Gerard Way for the shout-out to both Orby and I during last night's absolutely incredible show." Galecki and My Chemical Romance's Gerard Way actually go way back, with Way once interviewing Galecki for YRB magazine. Galecki has a great way of maintaining friendships with his ex-girlfriends. The first was Sarah Gilbert, who went through a tragic depression while dating him as a teenager. At the time, she was questioning her sexuality, but after she came out to him, he was nothing but supportive and kept her secret until she was ready to do so publicly years later. Then came Kaylee Cuoco, whom he dated from 2008 to 2010.
We got together and just fell mad for each other for about 2 years.
Though things became strained as Galecki held fast to their self-imposed rule to keep the relationship away from the public eye, there were no hard feelings when it ended. The two stayed close friends throughout the remainder of filming and in the years that followed the finale. Galecki still posts annual birthday wishes for Cuoco that are filled with love and sarcasm. In November 2020, he wrote, "The happiest 74th birthday to my fake wife Kaylee Cuoco. You know how much I adore you and respect you. I'm so proud of all you are doing and so happy with your happiness. Congratulations on 82 years of age." Additionally, for the 2022 book The Big Bang Theory, the definitive inside story of the epic hit series, they conducted most of their interviews with author Jessica Radloff as a duo. In her acknowledgments, Radloff thanked Cuoco for taking charge of Galecki's schedule. Since the emotional finale of The Big Bang Theory, many fans have wondered if, at some point down the line, they'll see this cast together again on screen. It's not completely out of the question. Just look at the 2021 Max reunion of the Friends cast. It brought together Matthew Perry, Matt LeBlanc, David Schwimmer, Jennifer Aniston, Lisa Kudrow, and Courtney Cox at the Warner Brothers lot, where Friends, as well as The Big Bang Theory, was filmed for the first time in 17 years. Galecki has hinted that he's not opposed to doing something similar for The Big Bang Theory, just not anytime soon. He said in Radloff's book, maybe after the amount of time that the Friends cast had. In the meantime, he credits Radloff's book as being an emotional reunion of sorts. It was one that allowed him to reminisce on those 12 years and all of the highs and lows that changed his life forever.
Modern Family made her famous, but could Sarah Hyland's legacy be in vitamin-infused chocolates? It's a side project the former sitcom star is passionate about for an unexpected reason. Although Sarah Hyland has previously said she has almost nothing in common with Haley, her Modern Family character, they do share an affinity for fashion. As Hyland told Vanity Fair, "As I get older, I'm becoming more like Haley, where I really am starting to appreciate fashion." And for a brief period of her career, Hyland had the opportunity to design clothing herself. In 2016, Hyland was not only asked to join the list of celebrities modeling and promoting Candy's clothing line, she also became the first celebrity to hold a leadership role in the company when she was appointed creative director of the junior brand.
Hi, this is Sarah Hyland taking you behind the scenes at my Candy's photo shoot available at Kohl's.
Katie Reeves, a representative of Candy's parent company, told Women's Wear Daily, "We've normally just had a face for the brand, but we've evolved Sarah's role into a more integrated one because she's a fashion authority in her own right, and we're excited that she can lend that to Candy's." Hyland was featured in Candy's ad campaigns from 2016 to 2018, and she also helped design various items for Candy's clothing line, an experience that has been surreal for her. She told the Daily Mail, "It's so crazy to see something go from a sketch to actually in Kohl's." In an interview with Self, Hyland opened up about her history with medical problems.
I've always had health issues, and it's a really helpless feeling.
The actor estimates that she has gotten at least 16 surgeries in her lifetime. Ever since birth, Hyland has experienced kidney dysplasia, and her kidney problems were present even as she was working on early seasons of Modern Family. In fact, she was so exhausted during certain episodes that she doesn't even remember filming them. In 2012, she started to experience kidney failure, so her father donated a kidney to her. For a while, it seemed like Hyland was recovering. Yet in 2016, her body's immune system began attacking the kidney her father had donated. The actor spent several months on dialysis, and when she needed another kidney transplant, her younger brother stepped forward to donate. However, complications required her to get 2 more surgeries in 2018 to treat her endometriosis and an abdominal hernia. Thankfully, Hyland's second kidney transplant was successful, and she is now able to go horseback riding and resume other physical activities that she couldn't do while she was recovering. But her health journey is far from over. Hyland's endometriosis is still an ongoing condition, and the scars on her abdomen will be with her for the rest of her life. She told Refinery 29, "Having scars and going through a lot of medical issues has only made me stronger." Unfortunately, Hyland's health concerns mean that she has endured constant public scrutiny. For instance, when she was seen with curly hair, as opposed to the straighter style Haley usually wore on Modern Family, some fans immediately jumped to the conclusion that she had gotten a perm. Hyland needed to explain that it was her natural hair, and the real reason it looked different in Modern Family was because she wore extensions to hide potential side effects of her medications. Hyland has also faced more toxic comments. When it appeared as if she had lost weight, some internet trolls accused her of promoting anorexia. Hyland responded that it was just where her body was at due to her long-term health issues. She wrote on X, formerly known as Twitter, "My circumstances have put me in a place where I'm not in control of what my body looks like, so I strive to be as healthy as possible, as everyone should." She even needed to address baseless rumors that she had gotten plastic surgery. In reality, Hyland's moon face was the result of her taking prednisone, a medication that causes facial swelling. Yet for every fan that makes hurtful comments, there are twice as many that support her. As Hyland proclaimed to Refinery 29, many of her fans are quick to shut down the hate, while others share their own stories of dealing with health issues. Speaking with Self, she said of her supporters, "They're lovely, amazing human beings. If someone says a remark that's mean or ignorant or something that shouldn't be asked because it's already been answered in the past, my fans go to town. They're my warriors." Impressively, Hyland managed to find love on a reality dating show, and she wasn't even a contestant. Instead, she was just an audience member tuning in to The Bachelorette. Watching from home, Hyland was smitten with contestant Wells Adams and said she could tell right away that she and Adams were on the same wavelength. Although he was eliminated before the end of the season, Adams still commented on the show via social media. This gave Hyland a chance to introduce herself. The pair exchanged flirty comments online until pretty soon they were sending each other DMs. In an interview with Jimmy Kimmel Live, Hyland recalled some of Adams' very forward correspondences.
Like, next time I'm in LA, I'm taking you out for, like, drinks and tacos. And, like, that's, like, I love tacos.
Although Hyland was in Los Angeles and Adams was in Tennessee at the time, the two stayed in touch via DMs and FaceTime. When Hyland started dating Adams, she had been preparing for her second kidney transplant. As her crucial surgery approached, Hyland debated how soon she should share this deeply personal part of her life. Ultimately, she decided to trust Adams, who immediately flew to Los Angeles to support her. This sweet gesture only confirmed for Hyland that Adams was the one, and the pair got engaged less than 2 years later. Sarah Hyland has done her share of celebrity endorsements. Before she landed her big role in Modern Family, she appeared in an Olive Garden commercial, and she continued to do TV spots for companies like Domino's Pizza and Nintendo during the show's run. Even after the series ended, Hyland has been using her celebrity status to promote various companies and events. She shot 2 commercials for Afterpay in 2020 and has also frequently participated in the InStyle elevator shorts to promote the Golden Globes. In what is perhaps her most memorable short, the elevator doors open to reveal Hyland as she plays a very claustrophobic game of Twister with her fiancé on the elevator floor. Of course, we would be remiss not to mention that Hyland is featured in a Taco Bell commercial. Hilariously shot like a horror movie, the ad allowed Hyland the opportunity to work alongside Stranger Things star Joe Keery.
He can't escape the crazy.
As an actor, Hyland hasn't limited herself to just TV and movies. She also lent her voice to the fiction podcast Bone, Mary, Bury. In this mock true crime story, with a healthy helping of dark comedy, Hyland narrates alongside What We Do in the Shadows star, Harvey Guillen. The premise for the podcast is that Hyland's character Allie attends a New Year's Eve party, and the narrator, Guillen, warns listeners that within a single month, Allie will sleep with one person, marry another, and kill a third. What's more, each of these characters is attending the same party. What follows is a delightful screwball whodunit story that Hyland told the Not Skinny, Not Fat podcast broke her out of her comfort zone.
I never really saw myself as having a podcast. I think there are people that are better at it than I.
Hyland explained that she was fascinated by the format. She had a lot of fun playing off her co-star despite the fact that she was recording her part in LA and he was tracking his in Canada. She reflected that the two still had plenty of room to improvise, but somehow always managed to bring their tangents back to the script. Selling vitamin-infused chocolates is far from Hyland's first side hustle, but it's arguably her sweetest. Hyland's company, Source, makes snacks that also double as nutritional supplements. For example, these chocolate treats are a good source of vitamin B12 and biotin, among other things. Hyland approached the company in 2021 and proposed 2 new product ideas, Beauty Bites and Mood Bites. The company's founders liked her contributions so much that they soon made Hyland a co-founder and Source's creative director. Good health is an especially important topic to Hyland, since she has dealt with such a myriad of other health concerns. As she told Refinery 29, being a 2-time kidney transplant recipient, you want to treat your body as well as you can. For Hyland, these vitamin-infused chocolates were a refreshing change of pace. As she explained to The Hollywood Reporter, because of all of my health issues, I probably take 30 pills a day, inclusive of supplements I have to take. I've actually been able to cut back on some of the pills because now I'm able to take them with Source. Now I can just have a treat before going to bed. Hyland is no stranger to celebrity endorsements, but she was still thrilled when the products that she helped design finally arrived on the shelves. In one Instagram post, she gleefully showcased a display of Source chocolates with her face on it. Since Modern Family ended in 2020, Hyland's schedule hasn't exactly been booked with movie and TV projects. In fact, she has only done a couple of movies and TV shows since the beloved sitcom ended. In 2022, Hyland appeared in the Amazon original My Fake Boyfriend and starred as Heidi in the TV show Bumper in Berlin. This pitch-perfect spin-off turned out to be a Modern Family reunion because Hyland was working alongside Adam Devine, who played Andy for Modern Family. The two played a couple yet again in the series, with Divine's character, Bumper, falling in love with Hyland's Heidi. Bumper in Berlin also gave Hyland a chance to show off her singing chops, something she hadn't really had a chance to do since she was on Broadway in the 2000s. Speaking with Screen Rant, she said, "It was just such a joy to be singing again. That's not just in my shower." For Hyland, playing this pitch-perfect character was surprisingly personal for her. As she told Pure Wow, "Heidi is afraid to sing because she is a perfectionist, and I very much relate to that." In 2022, Hyland was invited to host the reality TV show Love Island, a fitting choice, seeing as she met her husband thanks to another reality dating show. While she was host, Hyland tried to maintain a professional, amicable environment. Discussing her approach, she told The Wrap, "I think it's really important to be able to build a strong foundation and relationship with your girls and really be there for each other. Women can be pitted against each other, and what I really love about our show is what you saw last season. The girls, they're still friends." Her tenure on Love Island was not without controversy. After season 5 contestant Keenan Anune was eliminated from the game, his partner, KK Gray, volunteered to leave the show with him. When Hyland asked Gray a question to confirm that she understood this decision was final, a third contestant interrupted, accusing Hyland of questioning Gray's choice.
Yeah, it sounded mad disrespectful.
However, fans on social media were quick to defend Hyland. Even so, after 2 seasons, Hyland needed to pass the torch to a new host. The shooting schedule for the next season of Love Island conflicted with another project Hyland was working on, so she had to bow out. It took years, but Sarah Hyland finally married Wells Adams. When the pair were ready to commit, Adams not only asked Hyland's parents for their blessing to marry her, he also asked her TV parents, Julie Bowen and Ty Burrell. When the pandemic hit, Hyland and Adams realized that their wedding wouldn't happen that year. COVID-19 pushed back their ceremony, though the couple did at least take some fake wedding photos on their would-be wedding day. The pair rescheduled the nuptials to 2021, but it got postponed again. Hyland shared that she had considered skipping the ceremony and just tying the knot. Ultimately, though, she and Adams decided they were in no hurry and they could wait until they had the chance to celebrate with their families. Hyland and Adams finally got to have their wedding in August 2022. Ty Burrell was originally going to be the one to read the couple their vows, but due to a last-minute situation, he couldn't attend the wedding. Luckily, they found another Modern Family member, Jesse Tyler Ferguson, to step in instead. Early in her career, Hyland performed in several musicals. As a child, she played a supporting character in the 1999 TV movie Annie, and she later starred as Annie in a regional theater production of the show as well. From there, she went on to perform in the Broadway musical Grey Gardens. Once she joined Modern Family, however, Hyland didn't have much time for this particular passion. Outside of a TV movie remake of Dirty Dancing, she didn't appear in any movie musicals, and she certainly didn't perform on stage. Even so, she told Refinery 29 in 2017, "I'm such a music theater junkie. Unfortunately, I actually had to turn down a movie musical this summer for personal reasons, but I would love to do something like that again." Luckily, Hyland found another opportunity to return to musical theater. After Modern Family ended, she landed the role of Audrey in an off-Broadway revival of Little Shop of Horrors, bringing to life a childhood aspiration in the process. As she told Today, "Audrey's been a dream role of mine since I was a little girl." Hyland added that she loves the experience of performing live on stage for a new audience each night. And now that she gets to be swallowed by a man-eating plant on a daily basis, she must truly be living the dream.
Gossip Girl made her famous, but Taylor Momsen was more interested in being on stage than behind the camera. And while she may be away from Hollywood now, the star has managed to bring a little piece of Jenny Humphrey with her. Taylor Momsen entered the entertainment industry at a very young age, well, before she was old enough to make a decision about it for herself. Throughout her career, Momsen has expressed mixed feelings about her upbringing. She said becoming an actor was her choice and that her parents simply helped her find opportunities. But later comments reveal a very different picture. In an interview with Revolver, Momsen explained, "My parents signed me up with Ford Modeling at the age of 2. No 2-year-old wants to be working, but I had no choice. My whole life I was in and out of school. I didn't have friends, I was working constantly, and I didn't have a real life." But after finishing high school early and moving to New York to film Gossip Girl, Momsen became legally responsible for herself and enjoyed more freedom and independence. Momsen got her big break when she landed the role of Jenny Humphrey on Gossip Girl. But some of her co-stars weren't impressed. In later seasons, Momsen appeared on screen less and less, and Tim Gunn hinted as to why after guest starring on the show as Jenny's mentor. In an interview with E! News, Gunn didn't hold back, saying, "What a diva. She was pathetic. She couldn't remember her lines, and she didn't even have that many. I thought to myself, why are we being held hostage by this brat?"
I never actually watched the show, and maybe fans are going to yell at me about this, but I'm pretty sure they had me dealing drugs at one point.
After working on the series for a few years, Momsen seemed frustrated with acting and was ready to move on. Although Taylor Momsen was a successful actor, she secretly dreamed of making music. She'd been writing her own songs since she was a child and wanted to start her own band. Then she had a light bulb moment. She didn't have to act anymore if she didn't want to. She told Cosmopolitan, "It was like, if I don't have to do this thing that I don't enjoy doing anymore, or I don't know if I ever really did, then I'm not gonna do it anymore. Because this is my life and I want to live it and enjoy it if I can."
Goodbye, good riddance, and good luck.
Dealing with the logistics of retiring from acting was complicated, especially because she made the decision while still appearing on Gossip Girl, but she knew she made the right choice. In her early years with her band, The Pretty Reckless, Momsen faced some obstacles. As a young woman in a male-dominated genre, she wasn't always taken seriously. She was branded as a wild child for her onstage antics, and there were doubts about her authenticity as an artist. Later, she realized that some of this criticism was aimed at her simply for being a teenage girl. Speaking with Louder, she said, "There is a boys' club when it comes to rock and roll, and it is a struggle to break into that and be accepted and treated with the same respect as if you were a man." Today, she's more comfortable and confident in her own skin, and she credits other female artists like Amy Lee of Evanescence for helping her navigate the industry. Opening for Soundgarden in 2017 was one of the highlights of Momsen's career. She never imagined that she'd play the same concert as Chris Cornell, Soundgarden's lead vocalist and one of her musical heroes. But tragedy struck when Momsen learned Cornell had died by suicide. Speaking with Spin, she recalled, "I was there that last night in Detroit. I talked to him at night. I gave him a hug and said goodbye. When I wake up to that news the next morning, it just went from the most elating experience to one of the most devastating." After a few more performances, Momsen decided to put her own band's tour on hold. She explained, "I couldn't get on stage every night and put on this big rock show like everything was okay." She canceled all the Pretty Reckless's upcoming shows because she knew she couldn't give the fans what they'd come for. Months after Chris Cornell's death, Momsen and her bandmates were finally ready to start recording again. But shortly after they decided to begin working on a new album, Momsen learned that their producer and her close friend, Kato Kandwala, had been killed in a motorcycle accident. She was devastated. Momsen told Metro, "It was the nail in the coffin for me, for lack of a better term. He was so much more than a producer. He was a fifth member of the band and my best friend in the world." With Kandwala gone, Momsen had no idea how to move forward, and she felt like there was no point in trying anymore. After losing two people who meant so much to her, Momsen tried to numb her pain. She explained to the Daily Beast, "I wouldn't say rock bottom, but I was getting close to that. I was in this hole of depression, substance abuse, and was not well mentally." Momsen didn't want to engage with the outside world and spent most of her time at home. Rather than turning to others for help, she isolated herself. And in the midst of her grief, she found that even listening to music made her feel worse, telling Illinois Entertainer, "If I put on any music which has always brought me such solace and hope and light, it would bring back some sort of memory which was too much for me to handle or too painful, so I didn't have my outlet which had always been there for me." Momsen couldn't bear the thought of listening to her favorite artists, let alone write new songs. Eventually, she began to pull herself out of her depression by returning to her favorite band, the Beatles. Then she revisited albums from her other inspirations, including bands like Led Zeppelin, Pink Floyd, and The Who. When she was finally able to listen to Soundgarden again, she knew it was time to pick up her guitar. There was a time when Taylor Momsen would reliably pop up in the tabloids and gossip magazines, but today she has no real interest in chasing fame for fame's sake. While she loves her music career, she doesn't want her personal life in the spotlight. In a People interview, she said, "Fame is a fleeting thing, just something that you have to deal with. It's not real." She may not get as much media attention now that her days on Gossip Girl are behind her, but today Momsen is happier with her career, so the trade-off seems to have been worth it. The Pretty Reckless released their fourth album, Death by Rock and Roll, on February 12, 2021. It was a tribute to their producer, Kato Kandwala, whose sudden death almost broke up the band when Momsen retreated into isolation.
Well, I hate working with you, Kato, so I don't know what you're talking about.
It's clear and obvious.
Talking about the album with the Daily Beast, she revealed, "We finished the album right before COVID, and due to the insane world circumstances, we pushed it a little bit. The pandemic and the deaths of 3 loved ones combined to inspire Death by Rock and Roll. As Momsen explained to In Love magazine, we poured all of our heart and soul into saying goodbye, and at the same time, used it to move on. It was a major turning point in our lives." Although Momsen felt that making and promoting their first album without Khandwala was a cathartic and healing experience, not being able to perform it live was frustrating. She admitted to Elle, "I was doing lots of Zoom interviews and everything, which is all good and fine, but doing that side of a record release and not getting to play feels very incomplete." Since the Pretty Reckless couldn't tour when Death by Rock and Roll came out, the band spent the pandemic rehearsing and playing together for fun. This re-established their bond, and the practice made them more flexible and polished as musicians for when they were able to return to the stage. And Momsen happens to love touring, telling Elle, "It's breathing life into the band and myself, and I feel like we're in a very positive place, which is nice to be able to say as we started in a very negative one."
You feed off an audience, and when they are psyched, you're psyched.
Momsen credits their extensive backlist with keeping their performances fresh and exciting. As she explained to Untitled magazine, "We're not playing the same set every night. There are certain songs that stay in every night because we love them, but we can switch the set list out at a moment's notice with old material and different things from different records, depending on the audience or where we are." The Pretty Reckless released a new album, Other Worlds, on November 4th, 2022. Articulating the musical influences that have shaped the band's sound, the record contained cover tunes along with acoustic versions of their original songs. Speaking with Elle, Momsen clarified, "This is the other side of us. It's a bit more intimate and stripped back, but still very Pretty Reckless." Recording a cover of Soundgarden's Halfway There with drummer Matt Cameron as a tribute to late Soundgarden singer Chris Cornell catalyzed the album's concept for Momsen, but the record was created out of the boredom of the pandemic. As Momsen explained, "I started making music at home and recording acoustic versions of our songs, working with some of my friends who are also artists and doing remote collaborations. By the end of lockdown, I looked at all the stuff I made and went, this is all really good. I'm really proud of all of this stuff." Other Worlds is a tribute to Momsen's love of demos and the songwriting process. The Pretty Reckless gives fans a taste of this process on the album. Momsen said, "You can hear the song in its infancy without all the pop production. That's always been intriguing to me as an artist and a fan, so getting to share that side of ourselves with our fans was an interesting idea for me." Momsen may have left Gossip Girl to focus on her music career and live a more private life, but that doesn't mean she didn't take a little piece of Jenny Humphrey with her. Just like her alter ego, who became a designer for Blair Waldorf's family business in the last episode of the series, Momsen loves fashion. She elaborated to In Love magazine, saying, "Whether writing songs or creating a look, it's all about being creative and using that to express how I feel at any given time. Fashion is the outside appearance of my inner feeling, or I can use it to change my mood. It's fun for the imagination." Momsen occasionally attends fashion shows to support her favorite designers. During New York's Fall Fashion Week 2023, Momsen sat front row to support Frederick Anderson's Renaissance-inspired line, which she described to Life Minute TV.
Very glamorous, very gothy, which is very my vibe. I'm rocking the blonde Wednesday Addams situation.
In the mid-2000s, Jessica Biel was one of the hottest stars in Hollywood, but lately she hasn't been popping up on screens as much. So where's she been? From producing podcasts to working with charities, the Seventh Heaven star has been very busy off camera. Jessica Biel first captured the hearts of American TV audiences when she starred as Mary in the family drama Seventh Heaven, starting at age 14. Although that series lasted 11 seasons from 1996 to 2006, she didn't stay for the entire run. Biel was famously written off during the 5th season after she started rebelling against the show's rules by cutting her hair and then appearing topless in Gear magazine. By the mid-2000s, however, her career started taking off in a big way. She was soon starring in high-profile movies like The Texas Chainsaw Massacre, The Rules of Attraction, and I Now Pronounce You Chuck and Larry. At the height of her popularity in 2005, she was named Esquire's Sexiest Woman Alive. But in recent years, it's been widely reported that Hollywood won't cast Biel anymore. Even in her heyday, she was considered something of a lightweight, playing love interests and scream queens without much substance. By the 2010s, however, Biel started appearing in smaller films, which really allowed her to show off her acting chops. She played a single mom in The Truth About Emmanuel, a Sundance Film Festival entry in 2013. In 2015, she played a yoga instructor who finds herself having to protect her long-lost sister from her pimp boyfriend in Bleeding Heart, which was shown at the Tribeca Film Festival. Then she moved on to projects such as A Kind of Murder and 2016's The Book of Love. They haven't all been big projects with box office appeal, but they've helped Biel grow as an actor. She told Marie Claire in 2017, "They were great learning experiences." Biel and pop star Justin Timberlake started dating in 2007 and tied the knot in 2012. In 2022, the couple renewed their vows to mark their 10th wedding anniversary. The ceremony took place in Italy. On Instagram, Timberlake took a walk down memory lane by posting photos and videos of him and Biel over the course of their relationship. He wrote in the caption, 10 years ain't enough. You make me a better husband and father every day. I love you so much, you beautiful human. Run it back.
You just have to keep making time for each other, and you have to keep making each other a priority and do the things that you love together.
The pair have also been supportive of each other's creative endeavors, even making cameos on one another's projects. Biel can even be spotted dancing with Timberlake during the last half of his music video for 2018's Man of the Woods. Meanwhile, Timberlake made an appearance in Candy, playing an investigator in 2 episodes. Biel shared photos on Instagram of her and Timberlake preparing to film the series with the caption, "Watch out, Candy, there's a new sheriff in town." Biel and Timberlake became parents in April 2015 when Silas Randall Timberlake was born. They welcomed their second child, Phineas, in 2020. Biel said on the Armchair Expert with Dax Shepard podcast that keeping her second pregnancy a secret had been an accident. She revealed, "I had like a secret COVID baby. It wasn't like it was supposed to be a secret. It was just COVID happened, and then I went to Montana with my family and never left." Biel also noted that Timberlake was allowed to be in the hospital with her during the birth due to changing hospital restrictions. Biel has her own approach to celebrating the holidays with her children, telling People magazine that she tries to slow things down for them. She said, "I find that Christmas is kind of overwhelming for kids. It's a lot of pressure. There's a lot of eyeballs on them, and they've got a lot of stuff to do. So I like to slow roll it. Sure, open one thing. We don't have to open anything else until tonight, and that sometimes happens for us." She added that their holiday destination is pretty much different every year. As Biel continues to grow her titles in the entertainment industry amid other business ventures, she also makes time to advocate for the environment while pursuing other philanthropic endeavors. In January 2010, she joined a group of celebrities as they climbed Mount Kilimanjaro for the Summit on the Summit.
That was so hard.
The goal of the climb was to bring attention to global water shortages, particularly those in Ethiopia, and raise money for charities supporting clean water infrastructure. The group visited a refugee camp in Ethiopia, seeing firsthand how the shortage has affected people who have been forcibly displaced. Biel told the UN Refugee Agency, "I'm really taken by the resilience of the Somali refugees. I want to ensure that all those kids I met in the camp school continue to get clean water." In 2012, Biel was recognized for her charity work, receiving an award at the Variety Power of Women luncheon. She's also one of the many big names who participated in the 2023 Stand Up to Cancer special. Back in mid-2016, Jessica Biel and some investors put together a restaurant concept designed to appeal to busy upper-class moms in Los Angeles. Oh Fudge was part eatery, part nursery. The restaurant had dedicated au pairs available by the hour for younger children so that parents were free to have a meal out. It seemed like a great idea until the reviews started coming in. Some Yelpers said that the kids' area was dirty and unmaintained, and the food was overpriced and mediocre. In a January 2017 interview with Jimmy Kimmel, the actor said that the business was doing well, but went on to add,
Honestly, the restaurant business is way harder than being a producer. We're not making money.
As it turns out, making no money is not a sustainable business model. By 2018, the restaurant had closed. In a July 15th Instagram post, Oh Fudge stated, "Today is our last day of regular business hours at Oh Fudge the restaurant. Thanks for all the support." Increasing conversation surrounding women's reproductive health. That's the goal of the video series If You Don't Tell Them, Then Who Will, launched by Biel and Sandra Pelletier, the founding CEO of Woman Care Global. Biel told Good Morning America that she didn't know about all the changes that her body would undergo during pregnancy, and recalled receiving little information about women's health while attending middle school health class. In an interview with Glamour, Biel said she started thinking about a lot of questions when she stopped birth control 2 years before giving birth to her first child. She told the outlet, "I've been on the pill for so long, how hard will it be to get pregnant? Suddenly, I realized I really didn't know what's going on inside my body. It was shocking." Biel started gaining producing credits with 2008's Hole in the Paper Sky, a short film about the friendship between a math genius and a dog. This project would plant the seed for Iron Ocean Productions, a production company built by Biel and Michelle Purple, whose husband directed Hole in the Paper Sky. Biel told the Washington Post that Purple encouraged her to try her hand at other parts of the filmmaking process while working on that project. She said, "I did a lot of things behind the camera. I pushed a dolly. I did craft service." Biel and Purple first worked together on the set of 2005's Stealth, which Purple produced and Biel starred in. They started producing projects under Iron Ocean in the mid-2000s, bringing projects like The Book of Love and the TV series The Sinner to life. In February 2022, the company renewed its first look deal with Paramount Television Studios, which was originally signed in 2019. Biel has been bringing 1990s and 2000s nostalgia to the small screen with the popular anthology series Cruel Summer, which adds another executive producer credit to her long list of projects. Season 1 begins in 1993 with the disappearance of Kate Wallace, who was later rescued. Fellow teenager Jeanette Turner then finds herself in the middle of the case as Kate accuses her of witnessing her abduction and not reporting it. Season 2 takes place in 1999 and 2000, following the friendship between Isabella LaRue and Megan Landry, which begins to crumble following the murder of mutual crush Luke Chambers. The 1990s and 2000s were big decades for Biel's career, and she told The Hollywood Reporter that working on this series brought back memories of her youth. She said, "It brought me back to being a young woman in Hollywood and a young woman trying to work through this business and the world at this time when technology was changing so much. Fashion and music and everything. I think at the time, we didn't realize how cool it was." Sadie Stanley, who plays Megan Landry in Cruel Summer, called Biel a Y2K icon. She went on to add that Biel's work is giving young women the opportunity to play complex characters. Biel continues to make an impression on the small screen, appearing on popular streaming services and high-profile series. In 2016, she started playing an animated version of herself on Netflix's BoJack Horseman. In 2022, Biel played Candy Montgomery in the Hulu miniseries Candy, based on the true story of Montgomery, who was accused of killing her friend in the 1980s. The series premiered almost a full year before the Max series Love and Death, starring Elizabeth Olsen as Montgomery. Olsen told the Wall Street Journal that she and Biel bonded over their shows, saying, "It actually was something that connected us. I was terrified at first of having the same show seemingly come out around the same time, and she really made that feel like not such a big deal." In an interview with the Variety Awards Circuit podcast, Biel spoke about her approach to Montgomery, saying, "I wanted to create this person that you really were conflicted about. You connect on a human level in some way. You're still kind of with her at the end. That's what I hope to create. You just have to have empathy. I didn't play this character like she was the villain." Biel is using social media to show the world her personal adventures, turning herself into a celebrity to watch on platforms like Instagram. The actor recently made headlines with a Pilates workout that featured an appearance by Timberlake. The workout clip posted in August 2023 begins with the actor doing floor exercises before Timberlake's foot appears on camera, gently testing out her abs of steel. She's also shared behind-the-scenes moments from some of her biggest projects, posted photos of her and her husband dressed up for Halloween, and shared plenty of big life moments, including anniversaries, birthday messages, and Father's Day tributes. She's also using social media to throw back to some of her most well-known roles, including photos and videos of her playing Mary Camden on Seventh Heaven. That included a clip that she shared in June 2023 of Mary talking to her sister Lucy and her mom Annie. Biel included the caption, "Being 16 is hard. Being 16 with the same haircut as your mom and your sister is really hard." Biel's influence on social media goes way beyond Instagram. In 2019, she starred in Limetown. The Facebook Watch original series tells the story of public radio journalist Leah Haddock, who finds herself on a mission to find out what happened to more than 300 people who disappeared in Tennessee. The show is based on the 2015 podcast of the same name. Biel served as an executive producer on the series. The events chronicled by the podcast are pure fiction, a fact that surprised the actor. She told Variety, "I just thought I missed it because our world is so insane that anything is possible really, right? It was definitely a swift learning curve of, okay, this is not real, but it's so fascinating." Zach Akers and Skip Bronke, who co-created the Limetown podcast, told The Hollywood Reporter that the show's core team dedicated 2 weeks to developing the character of Leah with Biel and the producers. Bronke said, "The insights that Jess brought to the table made Leah so much more real and grounded and interesting." Akers added that the way Leah's story is experienced and how her character is portrayed are the biggest differences between the podcast and the TV series. Despite the podcast's success, the TV series was canceled by Facebook Watch in 2020 as the social media giant worked to scale back its scripted series offerings. Since Limetown, Biel has dived into the world of podcasts herself, executive producing The Lost Olympians. The podcast tells the story of swimmer Leslie Cairns, who was making a name for herself in the sport at just 12 years old in 1971, but her hopes of competing in the Olympics were dashed due to restrictions for those classified as colored under the apartheid regime. The 4-part series was made exclusively for Audible and was a collaboration between Iron Ocean Productions and Attention, a creative media company. In a December 2021 update released by Attention, Biel said, "We are excited to continue creating female-driven content and to launch Iron Ocean into the podcast world with this incredible story." The series was released in full on July 27, 2023, and features Leslie Cairns Falk as well as her brother Patrick Cairns, who also has an athletic background competing in track and field. In 2017, Biel played Cora Tanetti in Season 1 of The Sinner on the USA Network. Based on the novel written by Petra Hamzafar, the series follows Detective Harry Ambrose as he investigates murders while taking a deeper look at the suspects. The first season focuses on Cora, who kills a man at the beach, not knowing why she did it. While Biel only appears on camera during Season 1, she served as an executive producer on all 4 seasons of the show. She received a Primetime Emmy nomination and a Golden Globe nomination for her performance. During an Emmys event, Biel said she prepared for the role by researching PTSD and doing subconscious dream work. She and Michelle Purple's Iron Ocean Productions were behind the series, and Purple told the Washington Post that this project was a big moment for them. She said to the newspaper, "The Sinner was the game-changing moment for us in the sense of people looked at us different. The industry took us a little bit more seriously." As for why Biel only appears in season 1, she told the Mirror that they wanted to further explore Cora, but just couldn't fit it into the anthology series' second outing. Season 1 was 2017's top new cable series, but the series was canceled after 4 seasons. The cancellation came as the USA Network started to step away from scripted series, but creator and executive producer Derek Simons noted that they had always planned for just 4 seasons. In 2019, Biel made headlines for something not related to her work or her relationship status, her stance on vaccines. She posted to Instagram an image of herself in front of California's Capitol building and stated that she went to testify about proposed Bill SB 276, which is designed to tighten the process for receiving medical exemptions for vaccinations. The idea of the bill was to reduce fraudulent exemptions through strengthening oversight. However, Biel said in the Instagram post that while she supports children getting vaccinations, her friends had a child with a medical condition that warrants an exemption to the rule. She wrote in the post, "That's why I spoke to legislators and argued against this bill. Not because I don't believe in vaccinations, but because I believe in giving doctors and the families they treat the ability to decide what's best for their patients and the ability to provide that treatment."
What you have to do for your kid, it's an amazing responsibility and the biggest joy.
As part of her stance, she allowed herself to be photographed with anti-vaccination activist Robert F. Kennedy Jr., which raised many eyebrows. However, her foray into politics did not yield the results she wished, as Governor Gavin Newsom signed the bill into law a few months later. While Biel continues to act and run her own production company, she is also working to grow another business with families in mind. Kinder Farms was co-founded by Biel and entrepreneur Jeremy Adams. The business focuses on offering over-the-counter wellness products that contain plant-based ingredients. Items include electrolyte drinks, plant-based protein drinks, and various medicines, including those that target congestion and fever. Biel and Adams told Forbes that the idea stemmed from reading the ingredient labels on the medications they were giving to their children. Biel told the outlet, "I couldn't read any of these ingredients. I couldn't even pronounce them." The actor then added that her company is meant to give families another option, working to take unnecessary artificial ingredients out of children's medicine with the release of the Kinder Med line in 2022. She told Forbes, "Even if it only has 5 to 7 ingredients I can read that make sense to me would be helpful. Basically, we're just 2 parents looking for a solution in the middle of the night, terrified, trying to make the best decision we possibly can for our family." The company has experienced rapid growth. According to PR Newswire, Kinder Farms is number 45 on the 2023 Incorporated 5000 list, which recognizes fast-growing private companies in America.
Nathan Kress isn't a nerdy kid behind a camera anymore. Now he's a nerdy man behind the camera. Wondering what's been going on with Fredwood Benson ever since iCarley first ended? For him, the last decade has involved starships, a talking hot dog, and a brutal murder? Nathan Kress kept himself busy for years by playing Freddie Benson, the dorky camera guy in Nickelodeon's iCarley. The popular sitcom about teenagers Twitch streaming before Twitch was a thing lasted from 2007 to 2012, showing kids everywhere that all they had to do to get famous was random dancing on the internet. After 6 seasons of online drama, romantic tension, and gibbe, iCarley came to an end. And that meant it was time for the next stage of Kress's career as an actor. So what was his next move? He thought he'd stretch his acting chops and go right back to playing Freddy.
Yeah, hey Sam, what's up?
Kress may have stayed in his comfort zone by bringing Freddy back for Sam and Cat, but he also branched out by moving to the big screen in the 2014 film Into the Storm. Instead of trying to outwit Neville Papperman, the actor was now facing off against something a bit more powerful. Wind! Into the Storm didn't exactly blow the house down critically, but it brought in decent cash, and it completely changed the trajectory of Kress's life. Into the Storm didn't turn Kress into a movie star, but it did turn him into a married man. Kress and actress/stuntwoman London Elise Moore met while they were both working on the film, and the pair hit it off like spaghetti and tacos. In February 2015, Kress posted a photo of Moore visiting him on the set of Henry Danger, captioning the post, "When the lady comes to visit you at work. Kiss, kiss." Aww. Kress proposed to Moore in May 2015, and they tied the knot that November. Their wedding was attended by family and friends, including iCarley stars Miranda Cosgrove, Jeanette McCurdy, and Jerry Traynor. According to Kress, some iCarley enthusiasts have struggled to accept the actor's real-life marriage. He told MTV News, "Sometimes people have a little bit of trouble separating reality from a television show."
No, I don't need this.
After spending a ton of time directing a fake web show as Freddie Benson, Nathan Kress seemed to think that he had the necessary chops to do it for real. The actor became a director for the Nickelodeon superhero show Henry Danger, starting in the 16th episode of Season 1, and he stuck with the channel that made him famous for quite a while. All in all, Kress has directed 11 Henry Danger episodes, 6 Game Shakers episodes, and 5 episodes of the iCarley reboot. Kress has a special place in his heart for Henry Danger, the show which follows the misadventures of a teenage sidekick and the adult superhero that it's totally normal for him to hang out with. Gave him the start as a director, so he was pretty broken up when the show ended in 2020. On Instagram, Kress posted side-by-side photos of his first day on set versus his last. And if you look closely, you'll spot some subtle differences between the two. He captioned the photo by writing, "5 years, a lot has changed. Not just the fact that I can't fit into those khakis anymore. I got the chance to cut my teeth as a director on this show, oblivious to how it would change my life going forward. I'm forever grateful for the opportunity and the grace that's required from a forgiving crew to let me learn this new path I'm on." That's a pretty sweet thing to say about a show that features a song about spanking.
Spanky, spanky, spank your butt, doo-dah, doo-dah.
In iCarley, Freddie is obsessed with the space opera known as Galaxy Wars. But in real life, Nathan Kress actually made an appearance in the series it's based on. And by that I mean his voice made an appearance. You can't actually see him.
Are you serious?
Welcome to the rebellion.
In 2016, Kress took on the role of Wedge Antilles in Star Wars Rebels and the video game LEGO Star Wars The Force Awakens. He's the guy who took down an AT-AT during the Battle of Hoth and helped blow up both Death Stars. He's kind of a big deal. As you might expect, Kress was unbelievably excited to join the biggest sci-fi franchise in the world. In a social media post, he wrote, "Ironically, Wedge was always one of my favorite characters to pretend to be as a kid, so this is the literal definition of a dream come true. You're telling me a young Kress specifically decided to play as Wedge Antilles rather than Luke Skywalker, Han Solo, or my personal favorite, Nine Nun?" Years before his fellow Nickelodeon stars Keke Palmer and Alex Wolff gave it a shot, Nathan Kress made a pivot in his career when he took part in his first horror film. Up until 2016, the closest thing to a scary movie that Kress had ever been in was a Halloween episode of iCarley.
The doorknob came off! Why'd you pull off the doorknob? Because I wanted it for my knob collection!
With Tell Me How I Die, Kress became one of the potential victims of a serial killer under the influence of a powerful memory-boosting drug. His character then is a kind-hearted soul who just wants to protect his friends. He's kind of like Freddie Benson if he had balls.
What are you waiting for?
Unlike his earlier endeavor Into the Storm, Tell Me How I Die received mixed reviews from fans and critics. The film didn't debut domestically or internationally except for in Turkey, apparently. But none of the actor's fans ended up booking a flight to Istanbul to see it. It was released for streaming everywhere else, where it languishes in obscurity. It's not a good movie by any means, but we can't fault Kress for wanting to make some cash.
I'm not like a stalker, okay? I'm just broke.
Most of us use YouTube primarily for cat clips and pop culture videos featuring a very handsome host with weird hair that everybody hates for some reason. So it's easy to forget that there are actual movies on there. Lots of them are entertaining films that were made with love and care, but Alexander IRL isn't one of them. This 2017 YouTube Red original features Nathan Kress as EJ, a wannabe Mark Zuckerberg who asks his coding expert little brother Alex to help him develop the next big app. In exchange, he'll use his social skills to help the awkward teenager throw a party and impress his crush. It's The Social Network meets Risky Business, except those movies are actually good. Instead of trying to win viewers with quality, the movie tried to make buzz for itself by starring YouTube and TikTok sensation Brent Rivera. Rivera, who's been accused of stealing content from other creators, doesn't seem to steal anything good for his performance. Ooh. At the very least though, Kress does his best with what he's given.
I wrote down pick up Alex on my hand, but it's smudged, so I thought it said pick up a locks. Bought all this locks for nothing.
Critics weren't impressed with Alexander IRL, and neither were general audiences. Not even Brent Rivera fans. Brian Costello, a Common Sense Media reviewer, put it well when he said, "This is amateur filmmaking at its absolute worst." Yikes. If you've read her book, you know that Jeanette McCurdy didn't enjoy her time working for Nickelodeon nearly as much as Nathan Kress probably did. But that doesn't mean that the two actors don't keep in touch. Even though McCurdy declined to return as Sam Puckett for the iCarley reboot, she reunited with the former Freddie Benson years earlier for the short film 8 Bodies. The killer comedy features McCurdy as half of a murderous couple, and Kress as a goofy cop who stops them at a checkpoint.
Woo! Sorry, my siren broke.
For the iCarley fans who loved watching Sam inflict various traumas on Freddie, 8 Bodies is a must-see. Rather than pelt him with an apple or fake a trustful though, she goes for something a little simpler, a baseball bat to the brain. Apparently the team only had a single take to get this right, and it's bloodier than iCarley ever was. Luckily for Kress, McCurdy and the costume department, they managed to pull it off. While directing episodes of Henry Danger, Nathan Kress was involved in another Nickelodeon show as the voice of J.J. Jameson.
No, this is wrong. I am a computer expert. I know so much.
Not that one. Kress played J.J. Jameson in the show Pinky Malinky, a joint endeavor between Nickelodeon and Netflix. Despite being a mockumentary-style cartoon about a sentient hot dog, Kress's role is once again pretty similar to Freddie. When Nickelodeon announced a cartoon in 2018, Kress took to the website formerly known as Twitter to express his excitement. He posted, "Yes! It's been too many years. Cannot wait for everyone to see what we've been cooking up. It's madness, but there's also like good life lessons and friendship and stuff. It's gonna be a blast, you guys."
That's my boy, that's my boy, that's my boy. He's my boy, he's a hot dog buddy, he's my boy.
Pinky Malinky was cancelled after 3 seasons, but not before it was nominated for Outstanding Editing for an Animated Program at the 2020 Daytime Emmy Awards. Parents seemed to appreciate its positive messages, but mostly they enjoyed the more offbeat jokes that often came out of nowhere.
Oh, Mom. I love your mom. I love her.
All good things must come to an end. Until they're rebooted for 3 seasons 9 years later. That's what Miranda Cosgrove, Nathan Kress, and Jerry Trainor learned when they were given the chance to bring back iCarley, but for grown-ups this time.
Fun Brooke is here. Let's get this party started. Oh, looks like the party already started.
There were more adult topics and dirty jokes in the reboot, and that meant that there was more romance. Carly and Freddie finally started dating for real, and they were about to get married in the season 3 finale, only for the show to get cancelled after a massive cliffhanger involving a character we've never seen before.
Mom? You got a mom?
Kress had been excited to show the world what Freddie Benson looks like as an adult, which is why he was so devastated about the news. He posted a lengthy thank you message to fans, writers, and crew members on social media, which concluded by saying, "Obviously, this stings a bit. We had a lot of story left to tell, and we were excited to give you guys the ending you deserved. No one wanted this to end on a cliffhanger. Maybe somehow, someday, we'll find out how the story ends. Will iCarley return in 2032? Never say never, but shows aren't typically rebooted twice. Except for The Twilight Zone, Beverly Hills 90210, and Futurama, and The Powerpuff Girls, The Odd Couple, The Fugitive, The Addams Family. Yeah, you get the idea. It's too bad that Carly Shay and Freddie Benson never got to say I do or have iKids. But as Kress himself said, some fans have a hard time coming to terms with the fact that iCarley is a work of fiction. Rather than get worked up over the failure of his on-screen marriage, Kress has focused on his real-life family. And that includes 3 children. On the 27th of that month, he posted photos of his newest bundle of joy, Lincoln William Kress, on Instagram with the caption, "Little Link is awesome. My wife is an absolute champ as always. Our girls are the big sis dynamic duo, and Penny, the dog, is very interested in the mesmerizing smells that emanate from this weird blob we brought home." Kress and his wife London also have daughters, Rosie Carolyn and Evie Elise. So far, Kress is enjoying being a father, a role that he told The Messenger helped him get through the SAG-AFTRA strike. Though he wasn't able to work or promote new projects, he was able to spend quality time with his little ones. He said of his family, "These guys are my clan. They're my party people. I'll go anywhere with them. It doesn't matter how many snacks they need in the car. Now that the Hollywood actors are back to work, Kress is doing his acting thing once again. And thankfully, he has no intention of striking as dad.